Hey, it's your girl Barbie J here, and we are talking about another awesome episode of The Equalizer with my girl Robin McCall, aka Queen Latifah. And this is season 2, episode 9, About That Life. That's right, it's about that life. And you see, Robin gets caught up in between these two deadly gangs or something, these rival rap crews and stuff. And it just gets crazier and crazier. But before we get started and talking about this and giving this recap, shout out to all my subscribers. Thank you all. Everybody who's come back for the new year. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, if you want to help me out in this new year, come on now. Hit that subscribe button and subscribe to Barbie J's channel. That's right. Hit that subscribe button, then hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know every time I upload a new video. And you would want to do that because I upload some good stuff. All right? And once you subscribe and then hit that notification bell, then I ask for you to like the video, hit that thumbs up, and leave a comment. Leave a comment below about the video, about the show, what your feelings were about it, and then share it. Share the video, share the love. That's right. Help Barbie J's channel grow. Now let's get started with this recap. So it starts off with some guy getting shot and he begging for his life. He was already stabbed or something, and he's dragging, and whoever came over to him, they shot him. You could tell it was a black person because it was a black hand, whatever. And then it switches over. That's how it started off, but then it switches over to Delilah and Aunt Vi sitting in the kitchen, and they're discussing college and how she may not want to go. And Robin came in there and heard that and said, oh yeah, you will be going to college. She said, well, there's other people, like she named some rich people who never finished college, but they rich and stuff. She said, well, none of them live under this roof, and you will be going to college. So there must be a reason why they put that into the show. I don't know why, but it was mentioned. So then she gets a call. She got a call from somebody named Deidre Blackman, who's the wife of Delilah, the rapper Delilah, who he has 2 sons. One of them believes his father did the murder, and the other one doesn't believe their father did the murder. So the wife is saying basically there was a rap song put out, and the person was telling the details of the murder of this Dre Biggs. And that's who Delilah's in prison for killing him, but he really didn't do it. And his wife knows he didn't do it, but he admitted to the crime, but there's got to be a reason. So Robin and Detective Dante are trying to figure out what the reason is. She got him involved, and then she tried to get Harry's help, but Harry said, oh yeah, that's right. I can't. I'd love to help you, but I can't because the FBI forbid me for ever touching a computer again. And Robin's like, but Mel could touch it. So he's going to tell Mel what to do, how to find stuff and they're going to trace the IP address to find out where that rapper, whoever that rapper is that put out that song, where it's coming from. Because the song basically is detailing what basically happened to that rapper. And they never told the details. The public never knew the details. So they feeling that this person has something to do with it. So once Robin and Dante visited Delilah, he's telling them they need to leave it alone and let it go. And when he walked back to the cell, one of the other inmates gave him a phone. And when he got in his cell, he slicked it off and took it. The guard didn't see it. When he got in his cell, he said, look, the police are asking around again about that murder. You know what you got to do. So, of course, Robin's doing her detective work, and she pretends to be a reporter and that she wants to interview this rapper who was it Dre Biz was his mentor. So she worked her way into, it was the anniversary of Dre Biz's death. So she was asking him questions and everything, and he was like, what's with all the questions? Don't you want to know about his music? Yeah, but I mean, there's this new record that came out, there's this new rap song that came out by Sid Slay. He said, I don't know nothing about no Sid Slay. Yeah, and it seemed like he knows what happened, so I was just trying to find out. That's a good story too. So, she talked to him, found out a little bit of information. Meanwhile, it switches over to Delilah. I told you there's a reason they mentioned this college thing. She's outside in front of her house playing with some guy named Cameron, and Aunt Vi opens the door and busts her. And she's like, hello. And he's like, who's your friend? Oh, this is Cameron. Okay, you want to come in? Oh, he really has to leave. She said, well, I just ordered a pizza. Is you sure he don't want to come in? So he's like, cool. He comes in and she starts asking him questions. You know, I ain't trying to hear that. She learns that he doesn't go to the same school as Delilah. He met her through his cousin, Tiffany, and that he's a junior in high school where Delilah's a sophomore. And she said, oh, you should be looking into college now. And he was like, yeah, well, I don't think I want to go. I'm going to college. You know, they make the prices so high and bleed you dry to the fact that for people like us, we can't afford to go to the college. And, you know, he's saying all this stuff. And she's looking, smiling at Delilah like, this is why this got into your head. This is why you don't want to go into college, because this boy doesn't want to go to college, you know. So moving on, we got Robin. She found out some information, so that's why she needed to talk to what's the name, Dilemma's son, because she's finding out that he was around and he knew some stuff. So she went to the studio to go talk to him. I guess that's his older son. So she's telling him, you know, he's talking, trying to be tough. She said, looks like Gangster Jr. got sloppy and Daddy had to cover. And he was like, no, that's not what it is. The Shadow Boys had beat me up and put me in the hospital. And when I woke up, my father was there crying. I never saw him like that. And he said he was going to take care of it. And the next thing I know, you know, Dre Biz is dead and da 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 da. So he's doing along like, and you know, he didn't want to. Robin was asking him all these questions that he really wasn't ready to answer. He did not want to answer. So he's like, I got to get back to it. So she called Dante, Detective Dante, and told him what happened. Meanwhile, Detective Dante said there was a janitor who was there that night and said that someone else arrived into the studio before, you know, Dre Biz got shot, because he got shot right outside his studio. And of course, Dilemma was uncooperative, so they still digging every way they can. And, you know, like I said, he told them to leave it alone. But before the shooting, this guy came in, and come to find out the guy who came in was identified as Jacob Styles. He's the head of Beat Music, which was the label Dilemma was on. And they paid him 25 G's not to mention that Styles came in there. So when Detective Dante re-interviewed him, he learned all of this information. So Robin tried to charm her way into Beat Music, and she was almost in there when the phone rang and the cameras was on her, and whoever called from upstairs said not to let her in, and she pretended like she was like, he said, I know you people always try to bring your demos and be slick with it. He's like, nah, you're not getting in. So she left out of there. And when she left out of there, a motorcycle drove by and shot at her. She was on the phone with Detective Dante at the time, and he was like, what's going on? She's like, I just got shot at. So what's funny is when Detective Dante reached Robin, she, in that split like 3 to 4 seconds that the shooter shot at her and drove by, she was able to give Dante very detailed information about the suit of the shooter. And he was like, wow, he was like, how about next time you try to give a little more detail? And she just started laughing because she was able to tell if he was a righty, a lefty, what type of motorcycle was, how tall he was by sitting. It was crazy, but it was funny. So they go back in the building to talk to Mr. Styles, and they tell that they know he was there at the studio that night, and they have a witness. And, you know, I'm like, I hope they don't get the witness in trouble, because it was that janitor who told. And they said if he lies to him, she said, you could lie to me and get away with it, but if you lie to the officer, that's obstruction of justice. So he said, well, then I'll have to talk to my lawyer or something like that. They said, well, you may have to if you the one who killed Dre Biz. He said, but by the time you call out, it'll be like the 6 o'clock news will be on, and I'll be able to perp walk you out of here, you know. So he's like, basically that won't be necessary. So he said he tried to talk the Dilemma out of doing the peace track because, you know, all that beefing, you know, sells records. It basically sells records. So he wanted, as the producer, I mean, the owner of the record studio, he wanted them to keep beefing and not do a peace track to squash whatever beefs they had. Violence sells, he said. But he said then they heard some shots, and Dilemma ran downstairs to see what was going on. And then he came back up, and they was asking what's going on. And he said, don't worry about it. It's none of your business. And just to keep his mouth shut. So Dante was saying to Styles, so you know he was an innocent man and you let him take the fall for it? He said, look, he told me it's none of my concern. So they said, so that's why he's been paying you monthly to keep your mouth shut. He's like, yeah, he's in jail. I'm losing a whole lot of money because of that. You know, he's in prison. You know how much money I'm losing and stuff? They said, well, look, give us that peace track that they had started. So that's how he got off for the, he got away with that. Then it was Harry and Mel who found out information for them. What he did was outsourced his info to a hacker friend of his to help, you know, find that information for Robin. And they narrowed the information down to where that IP address came from, 2 different high schools in Queens. And then from narrowing it down, they got the name of a student who it could be from. And they gave Robin the address for the student. So they didn't realize, but the student was a female and she had found the book in a park and with the lyrics in it. And what she did was she laid down the tracks and dropped it on SoundCloud, but she disguised her voice because no one takes her serious because she's a girl, you know, and rapping is more like a male dominated, you know. So Robin tells her not to be following others and to be herself, be authentic. And you know, she said her style was more of Lauryn Hill and MC Light. So she gave Robin the notebook, and Robin recognized the handwriting and the sketches in it, and it was Nasir's, which was Dilemma's younger son. And Robin went and confronted him, basically, with his mom right there, and she told what she learned. His mom couldn't believe it, and then he basically told what happened. You know how his dad had left his cell phone rushing out there to the studio. He was supposed to be meeting with Dre Biz so they could do that track and squash everything. It was supposed to be a peace track and everything. And so the text, he saw a text message on his father's cell phone, and it says it was a setup and everything. And so he grabbed the phone and he grabbed the gun. Oh, he said, no, it says it was a setup and Dre Biz is on his way coming for him or something like that. So he said he grabbed the phone and a gun to bring for his dad to protect himself. And when he got there, he saw Dre Biz going to the trunk to pull out his gun, you know, when he arrived. And he said Dre Biz saw him. And so he said he got nervous and shot at him 2 times, you know. And then his dad got there, you know. So, but he shot him 2 times from a distance when the cops said there was a third shot, which was the fatal close-up shot. So they were trying to figure out who that was. And then Robin just realized who it was after she gave, she asked them for that old that old text message, if it was still on the phone from a year ago, that they wanted to, you know, see if they could find out who it came from. So of course she gave it to Harry, and they found out it was from a burner phone, and that you would never be able to find it, you know, from a burner phone a year ago. But what happened is the idiot who had the burner phone made a couple of calls to some girls, and then they called somebody else, which happens to be what was it? His mama. He called his mama from the phone. But however, he had also sent Dre Bids the same text message, and that's why Dre Bids came from. He sent him the same message from that burner phone, and that's why Dre Bids had came with a gun too. So they were setting them up, trying to get them to continue beefing. They were trying to play them against each other. So whoever did it didn't want them to have a truce. So Robin realized it was the guy Broiler who sent the text. That rapper that she had pretended. Remember, she pretended, I said that she was an interviewer, and she wanted to interview this rapper, this young rapper who was basically Dre Wiz was his mentor. So she went to the studio to confront him about it, and Broiler was acting like he didn't know what she was talking about and he didn't do it. And then next thing you know, he pulls a gun on her, and she was like, and he started, you know, saying, look, that's right, I did that, and da 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 da. You know how they start getting cocky and telling what they did and what happened. And she had her hands up, you know, hands up, and said, that's right, I did it. And the next thing you know, Dilemma's older son shows up, not Nawu or something like that. Nawu, he showed up with a gun, and he's like, yeah, my brother told me what happened, and blah, 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 blah. And he comes in there, you know, and Robin's trying to talk him out of doing something stupid, you know. telling him to put the gun down. You know, your dad would not want you to do this. You know, he's willing to do 25 years of life to keep your brother out of this life, and for you to switch places with him. Think about it. It doesn't make any sense. Put the gun down. Next thing you know, Broiler points the gun at him, and of course, you know, he points it at Newoo, and he took his eye off of Robin, and Robin, he don't know how good she is. She unarmed him and stuff, and slammed him down on the counter and stuff. And then she still kept talking to Newoo, telling him to put it down, stop pointing the gun at him, because he was saying somebody gotta pay, you know. And she's like, he's already ruined enough lives. You want to ruin yours too? So he puts the gun down, and then, you know, Broiler trying to be tough and all this stuff, talking about, well, you know what? You ain't got nothing on me anyway. That DNA ain't going to show me nothing. Once my lawyers get through with you, that DNA won't mean a doggone thing. She said, but your live confession will, because you left your mic open and it recorded everything you said. I said, ooh, busted. That was the best part of all. Now, when all of this was happening, Delilah had, you know, called Cameron, you know, because she was talking to her mom. She was talking to Robin as Robin was listening to Dilemma, and Robin made a statement to her that clicked in her head about being authentic and being yourself or something like that. And so Delilah was like, she called Cameron and said she was wondering if he was fronting about college because he's like a straight A student, and was he concerned that he couldn't even get in or something like that. And he got mad, a little upset, and he basically hung up on her, you know, after declaring he don't be fronting at all. So basically Delilah thought they had broken up. But then the next day, you know, he called her and she wasn't going to answer. And Aunt Vi was sitting there saying, answer the phone, girl, answer it. So Delilah answered it. And he was asking her, did she want to go to the movies and everything? And she was like, what? Really? She said, I thought we was through, you know. And he was like, no, we not. He said, I apologize for tripping yesterday. You know, he said, but I respect that you, college matters to you and everything. And he said, and I'm not mad at you for pushing back. He said, but you have to respect that it's just not for me. And she said, yeah, I do. She said, and I do push back. So that ended on a good note, and he said, we'll talk later. And he said, called her, said some nice stuff about her being pretty and all that stuff. So it was cool. He let her know some girls wouldn't have even cared, and that's what he likes about her, that she does care about how she feels about things and what she thinks. So that was cool. So anyway, it ended with Robin and Dante going to see Dilemma in prison. And he basically was like, it's his fault that he put his family in the middle of this stuff with the beefing and stuff. But he said, but one thing I know, us being free from all of this and getting to the truth, we owe all of that to you. He told Robin. He's like, I mean, my family, we owe it all to you. And Dante told him he would have to be doing, I guess, some community service and fixing up the mess he caused. And they said, your son is already in the studio doing that. He's like, really? He said, yeah. He's in there laying, he finishing off where you and Dre Bids had left off. So, and basically they showed the son in the studio doing a rap about peace and truce and all of this stuff. So that was really, really cool. I like the way it ended. But the most last thing was Mel and Harry. They were saying how it was a nightmare working together, not trying not to be seen, using a laptop was so hard. So Robin said she found him a spot she thought that would help him out, and it's right beneath the bar. And it was a condemned subway tunnel that condemned is the key word, so they were supposed to seal it off. And it has been, they don't have to worry about anybody finding them because it had been erased from all city records. So they were checking out the space, and he really liked it. She said they basically think it's all sealed off for good. So he was like, great. He felt so happy. He said, I'm back. He said, but no more stupid risks. That means that risk that he took for Bishop which got him in jail, in prison in the first place. But he said, now I can, you know, she said the good part is you could come down here and work and you can leave. You don't have to hide down here, because before, you know, Harry was hiding. He didn't have a above ground life. Now he could have an above ground life and be down there, but he still has to be careful because he's still not supposed to touch any computers. So that's the way it ended. I hope y'all liked that show because I thought it was a great show. It was amazing. It was wonderful. I really got into this episode. And if you have any comments, please put it down below. If I missed anything, let me know. This your girl Barbie J saying peace.